regardless of how he finishes out the twilight years of his illustrious coaching career, one thing remains certain. Bill Belichick will end up on the shortest of short list for the best NFL coaches of all time, if not standing alone atop the Mount Rushmore that Vince Lombardi built as the single best head coach to ever do it. But even the all-time greats have blemishes on their resumes, and the legendary Bill Belichick, despite being seemingly invincible, is not immune to such foibles. For Bill, it'll always go back to some of the, let's say questionable decisions that he made leading up to and during Super Bowl 52. Even to the common fan, it was clear that Belichick was off his game. He made a handful of decisions that have people scratching their heads to this day. It wasn't just that the decisions were questionable either. People were honestly just sort of shocked that the Pats lost, I think. Because when you look back at the game itself, purely from a personnel and coaching standpoint, it is kind of absurd that Philly even made it to the Super Bowl to begin with. Let's take a look back at some of the context leading up to the big game, and then dive into Bill Belichick's greatest blunder as a head coach. One so epically bad that people actually believe he might have sabotaged the team's Super Bowl chances. Like I mentioned, people had very little faith in Philadelphia heading into that Super Bowl matchup. It was not just that the Eagles were matched up against football's greatest head coach and quarterback combo to ever do it. Their status as an all-time underdog goes deeper than that. Much deeper. The Eagles starting quarterback, Carson Wentz, who had been an early MVP favorite during the regular season, went down with an ACL injury that many thought would be backbreaking for Philly, meaning that the team's backup, Nick Foles, who hadn't exactly had a load of success as a starter in the league, was gonna take over. Although Foles did play well enough down the stretch and during the first couple of rounds of the postseason to get the Eagles some W's and into the Super Bowl, I guess he didn't do enough to get a vote of confidence from the public in that Super Bowl. After all, this is the Super Bowl we're talking about. No one thought you could just trot a backup quarterback out there and win the damn thing. Especially not with the likes of New England on the other sideline. Beyond that, there just weren't a ton of big names on the roster. Of course, there were guys like Jason Peters and Jason Kelce, both of whom played on the offensive line, as well as Chris Long and Fletcher Cox, who conversely were on the defensive line. Nothing against the men in the trenches, but that's not exactly the kind of star power that gets the common fan excited. I mean, think about it. This is the Belichick-led New England Patriots we're talking about here. A once-in-a-lifetime kind of dynasty. How could they possibly lose to the Philadelphia Eagles of all teams? With a backup quarterback at the helm, no less. However, as long as you don't live under a rock, I am sure at this point you know that things didn't exactly go according to plan for Brady and Belichick. Typically, after a bad loss, analysts and fans alike are quick to play couch coach and second-guess some of the decisions that shifted the balance of the game. But in this case, the second-guessing was so prevalent that it actually started off before the game ever even kicked off, thanks to a personnel decision that Belichick made. After playing over 97% of the Patriots' defensive snaps during the 2017 regular season and postseason, the team's all-pro cornerback, Malcolm Butler, did not see the field for a single defensive snap in Super Bowl 52, in what Bill Belichick characterized as a football decision, as he denied it had anything to do with discipline. This is a guy that made one of the most famous defensive plays of all time for Belichick and New England, just a few years back, intercepting Russell Wilson on the goal line to save Super Bowl 49 from defeat. To say that Belichick's decision to effectively bench Butler was stunning is an understatement. People could not believe it, and neither could Butler. I guess I wasn't playing good or they didn't feel comfortable. I don't know, but I could have changed that game. Some of his teammates echoed similar sentiments of confusion when asked about why Butler did not get into the action after the shocking defeat. You have to ask the coach, quarterback Stephen Gilmore said. I don't know. Safety Teron Harmon said much of the same. You have to ask coach. Coach makes all the personnel decisions and I just play football.
Gronk, why didn't Malcolm Butler play in the Super Bowl against the Eagles?
You know, everyone asked me this. My friends asked me this. Whoever asked me this, I actually know less info than you guys.
Unsurprisingly, when reporters did get their microphones in front of Belichick during a conference call, the generally cryptic coach did not offer much in the way of an explanation. I respect Malcolm's competitiveness. I'm sure that he felt that he could have helped. I'm sure other players felt the same way. In the end, we have to make the decisions that are best for our football team. And his defensive coordinator and de facto cornerman, Matt Patricia, backed him up, telling reporters the following.
Why didn't Malcolm play on defense at all today? Yeah, again, we were just trying to run some packages that we had, for the game plan, and just, those guys that were out there for all the situations that we needed them for.
Man,
so however it kind of, it turned out that way, and with the game, kind of the way it went, and some of the situations that came up, that was really, that was just kind of the way it went.
This is where people started to think that, as unlikely as it sounds, perhaps Belichick, an overwhelmingly calculated man, just might have some sort of alternate agenda beyond winning the game in front of him. Maybe, just maybe, he was sabotaging New England right there for the world to see. The theory starts with the eternal rumors that there is growing tension between the New England triumvirate, Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, and of course, Tom Brady. Not only was the team coming off of the Deflategate saga, but there were reports that the three men did not exactly see eye to eye on how the team should respond to it or the sanctions that the league came down with. Beyond Deflategate, there was also the Jimmy Garoppolo drama that had seemingly hijacked their relationship. Garoppolo was drafted in the second round of the 2014 NFL Draft, which probably irked Brady, who clearly had plans to play well into his 40s. Garoppolo served as the backup for Brady for 3 years and expectedly saw very limited action. But in the time he did get in, he looked good. In his rookie season, Garoppolo played in 6 games. He completed 19 of 27 passes for 182 yards and a touchdown with a 101.2 passer rating. And when Brady missed the first 4 games of the 2016 season due to his Deflategate-related suspension, Garoppolo led the team to 2 solid victories during the first 2 weeks of the season, before spraining his AC joint, causing him to miss the rest of his expected starts. After NFL fans and media members got their first taste of the Jimmy G experience, the rumors started to swirl. Many thought Garoppolo to be the heir apparent in New England. How long was Tom going to play there? How long did Tom want to play there? Was New England going to trade Garoppolo or Brady? The questions began to pile up fast, and apparently Kraft, Belichick, and Brady had different answers to those questions, as Belichick was beginning to grow more and more fond of slotting in the youthful, cheaper QB option, as it would free up a load of salary cap space for him to build out a more complete roster. As you can imagine, that did not exactly sit well with Brady, and the rumor is that he essentially strong-armed Kraft into forcing Belichick to ship Garoppolo out of town before his contract expired. So the school of thought is that Belichick, fed up with Brady and Kraft's overwhelming fondness of him, decided to try and make the Super Bowl win as challenging as it could possibly be on his veteran quarterback. This theory was furthered by some anecdotal evidence of increasing tension between Belichick and Brady, as well as Bill's strange demeanor during the Super Bowl. Usually fired up in his own way and all over the officials.
Can you measure this?
We already moved it, Coach.
I don't know. The ball's sitting right there. Just go out and measure it. I want to see if it's 2 inches or a foot or what it is.
Belichick was rather subdued on the sidelines. Cameras also caught a few nonverbal exchanges between he and Brady that led people to believe that Brady was peeved at Bill, perhaps for benching Butler.
And it's interesting that Rowe got the start instead of Malcolm Butler tonight. Butler was very emotional on the sideline.
Some popular figures in the media, like undisputed Skip Bayless, were quick to support this theory. I've never seen anything like what he keeps overcoming to get to and win Super Bowls for the New England Patriots, because the rosters get worse and worse. His receiving core gets worse and worse, and he keeps saying the right thing in the face of what Bill Belichick is doing to him, Bayless said. He's winning in spite of a coach who seems like he's trying to sabotage Tom Brady after that coach was forced to trade his quote-unquote son, Jimmy G, to San Francisco. He gave him away to his other son, Kyle Shanahan, for no more than a second-round pick. Then, in the Super Bowl, he chose not to play Malcolm Butler, which seems pretty sabotagey to me against Tom Brady. Clearly, now that Brady has departed from New England, there must have been some truth to the rumors that he and Belichick were feuding. Whether or not Bill went as far as actively sabotaging Tom on the biggest stage in football, well, that's for you to decide. So hey, do you think Belichick sabotaged his team's chances in Super Bowl 52? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.